Hello children, we are back with a new video now on wave optics. In the last class we discussed a very significant topic, in fact the double slit experiment, and now I hope you have understood what is double slit experiment, how we are locating the position of nth maximum, nth minima on a screen. Once you understood this, then children we will proceed to understand once again the conditions under which the process of interference will take place. So, what will be the conditions for sustained interference? Let us see here. So, children, these are conditions. I think we discussed in the previous video also what are the conditions for sustained interference. Sources should be emitting light continuously. Then sources should be coherent. You know what coherent sources are? Light should be traveling in the same direction. Same direction means same polarization. They should have same polarization, meaning the electric field vector should be directed in the same direction. Light should be monochromatic. Monochromatic means lambda should be same, wavelength should be same. Then you have amplitude should be same. Ideal case amplitude will be same. If the amplitude is same, then minimum intensity will be 0. So, we can more clearly see what is minima and what is maxima. There will be greater contrast. Nearly same will also do, but if there is a huge difference, interference will take place, but then contrast will not be so much because the dark spots will not be exactly very dark. Slits should be narrow to have sharp fringes on the screen, and distance between the slits should be small. So, these are some of the conditions which are necessary for obtaining sustained interference on a screen. Clear? Now, once you understood this, then we will proceed to understand what exactly is fringe spacing or fringe width. Okay? Fringe width. Fringe width. The symbol is beta. Fringe width. For understanding fringe width, children, we will go back to the double slit experiment once again. We have these are slits and the screen is here. This is centrally located point, which is also called central maximum. This is S1 and this is S2. And this centrally located point actually acts like origin, and the position of all the fringes will be measured with respect to the central maximum. We know the central maximum is a bright spot. Now, this will be dark D1, really bright B1, this will be dark D1, D2, again bright what? B2, and this will go on. Similarly, below, since this is a bright spot, then obviously this will be D1, this will be bright B1, then we will get dark D2 and bright B2, meaning on either side of the central maximum O, we denote it by O, we will have all these fringes on the screen and we can see it with the help of eyepiece, right, and a microscope. Now, what we will do is, we will understand what exactly is fringe width. It is interesting to see that on a screen, all the bright and dark spots are separated by a fixed distance. Are separated by what? A fixed distance. If I consider, let us see a magnified view of this. Suppose I have a dark fringe D, then a bright fringe B, again dark fringe D, and I have bright fringe B. Clear? Now, if I take any two consecutive dark fringes or any two consecutive bright fringes. For example, if I take two consecutive dark fringes D1 and D2, or if I consider two bright fringes B1 and B2, then the distance is called fringe width or fringe spacing. Clear? So, distance between any two consecutive dark fringes or any two consecutive bright fringes is known as fringe width or fringe spacing. Now, the fringe spacing can be represented in terms of distance. or it can also be represented in terms of the angle. If it is expressed in terms of angle, then you call it angular fringe width, otherwise called what? Linear fringe width. So, we will be defining what exactly is fringe width. Distance fringe width. So, children, distance between any two consecutive fringes. Fringes mean any two consecutive bright fringes or any two consecutive dark fringes is called what? Fringe width. And generally when I am saying fringe width, I am talking about linear fringe width. It will be expressed in terms of distance, right? So, let us see here, this is a bright spot, the first dark fringe comes here, and then comes the first bright fringe B1, then comes the second dark fringe D2, and then comes the second bright fringe B2. Clear? And remember children, the distance between any two dark fringes will be same as distance between any two bright fringes. We will show it mathematically. We will make certain assumptions as we have already done. Distance between the two slits is small d, and distance between the slits and the screen is capital D. Clear? So, we will be demonstrating the fringe width for bright fringes and also fringe width for dark fringes, and we will again show that fringe width for dark and bright is what? Same. Clear? Let us see here. I will see distance between first and second maxima. Beta will be distance between the first and the second maxima, and we already know. So, beta will be equal to how much? Y2 minus Y1, and we have already done, if you remember, that Yn for bright will be n lambda d by small d. Clear? So, n is the order of the fringe. So, here I am saying beta is equal to distance between first and second maxima. Now, you may ask, why I have taken only first and second? I can take in fact second and third and fourth and fifth. I can take any two consecutive fringes. I can take nth and n minus 1th also. Anything I can take. For sake of convenience and to demonstrate easily on the board, I am taking what? First and the second maxima, meaning I am trying to find out how much is this distance, and this distance is beta for bright. Beta for bright fringes. So, distance of second maxima, here I will put n is equal to 2. So, I get 2 lambda d by d minus 1 you put lambda d by small d. So, beta here will be lambda d by d, and children, this is beta for bright fringe, lambda capital D by small d. Similarly, let us try to calculate what will be the distance between D1 and D2. This is D1 and this is D2. We will try to find out how much the distance between two consecutive dark spots. So, we will say beta for dark spots. Beta will be Y2 for dark minus Y1 for dark. Here it is for bright. I will write here Y2 for B minus Y1 for B, and this is B. Clear? So, beta for bright is lambda d by small d. Now, beta is equal to position of the second dark spot minus first dark spot, and Yn for dark, you already know, Yn for dark spot is equal to 2n minus 1 lambda capital D by 2d, and we already know this. Clear? So, for locating the position of the second dark spot, I will put n is equal to 2. Locating the position of the second dark spot from here, I will put n is equal to 2. If I put n is equal to 2 children, then beta will be 2 to the 4 minus 1 3 lambda d by 2d. Now, if I put n is equal to 1, 2 1 is 2 minus 1 is 1. So, 1 lambda d by 2d. So, it becomes 3 lambda d minus lambda d by 2d, and eventually beta we get is lambda d by small d. So, we got beta here, and then you can see that beta for bright is same as beta for dark. Clear? So, beta and beta dash both have same values. So, from this result we conclude that fringe width will be same whether it is calculated for bright spot as well as for dark spot. So, I will be writing hence fringe width beta is equal to lambda d by small d. Clear? And this is linear fringe width or linear fringe spacing. Now, you can see that these fringes also have what? An angular width. For example, for these two dark fringes, this will be the angular fringe width, and for the two bright fringes, this will be for the bright fringes. Clear? So, if you are calculating angular fringe width, then angular fringe width will be angular fringe width theta will be beta by capital T, isn't it? If you divide the linear distance by the distance you travel through, it is equal to what? Tan theta, right? Perpendicular by base is equal to tan, and for small angles tan theta is same as theta. You can just remember that angular fringe width theta is equal to beta by d, and beta we already know, lambda d by small d. So, it will be 1 by d times lambda d by small d. Cancel out this. So, angular fringe width will be lambda by small d. So, children, we calculated two expressions. This is for linear fringe width, and generally if they do not ask you, you will be using linear fringe width. Clear? Linear fringe width, and this is angular fringe width. Clear? So, children, we had a discussion on this, and you can clearly see that if you increase the wavelength, then fringe width will also increase. If you do not change capital D and small d, then by increasing the wavelength, we will be increasing the value of the fringe width. For example, lambda of red is more than lambda of violet. Therefore, beta for red will be more than beta for violet. So, you have to remember this. Clear? So, we calculated fringe width, in fact linear as well as angular. Clear? Now, I will be saying how does this fringe width vary as the experiment is carried out in a medium. So, in a medium, children, in a medium, beta in a medium is beta in air divided by mu. So, that means this value has to be divided by refractive index. So, beta in a medium will be lambda d by mu into small d. So, this formula also you have to remember in the modified form, that if you know the fringe width in air and I want to calculate in given medium, then I will just have to divide by the refractive index of the given medium, and I will get what is the value in a given medium. Okay. Now, children, we are going to discuss what is size of the central fringe. Here, this is central maximum. Let us denote by O, is a bright spot, and then here we have a dark spot D1 above and a dark spot D1, let us say D1 dash below. Clear? Now, distance between these two dark spots surrounding the central maximum is known as size of the central fringe. And children, this is central maximum. Central maximum. Clear? So, distance between the two dark spots surrounding the central maximum is called central fringe. Let us define it. size of central fringe. So children, we define distance between two dark fringes surrounding the central maximum is called size of the central fringe, meaning size of central fringe is how much? D1, D2. So size of central fringe will be equal to D1 D1 dash, and D1 dash is twice into OD1, right? So if I can find out the distance between, we know that this distance and this distance will be what? Same. So you can find out the distance between the central maximum and the first dark spot. I'll double it to get what is the size of the central fringe. Clear? Now we already know here, we know the distance of nth dark spot will be 2n minus 1 lambda d by 2d. Clear? So I'll put the value 2 into, I'll put it in equal to how much? 1. So will be 2 minus 1 lambda d by 2d. Cancel out this. This will be lambda d by d. So this value is same as what? Size of the fringe. Clear? Or the fringe width. So size of the central fringe is lambda capital D by small d. And if you see angular size of central fringe, so this will be this divided by theta, beta central, right? So theta central will be beta by d. So angular width will be, theta central will be, if you divide by capital D, then this capital D is gone. So lambda by small d. So we calculated what will be the size of the central fringe, the linear size and also the angular size. So you remember these two values, and if you conduct the same experiment in a medium, then the width will be divided by refractive index like we did in the previous case. Clear? So I hope you understand this discussion now. Once you have understood this, then we will be discussing the concept of intensity distribution during interference. Okay? We will be discussing how intensity is distributed during double slit experiment. Okay? And this graph is important. This graph will be drawn between intensity and path difference, and also will be displaying the same graph between intensity distribution, intensity of fringes and the phase difference. In fact, children, if you go back to double slit experiment, you know this will be the what? Central maximum. Clear? And then D1 will come, and then B1 will come, and then again D2 will come, and again B2 will come above, and the same thing will come below also. I'll call it dash, D1 dash, and then this will be B1 dash, this will be D2 dash, and this will be B2 dash. So all these fringes will alternately come on the screen. And the interesting thing is, children, that all the bright spots will be equally bright. Unlike diffraction, where you see the intensity goes on gradually decreasing, in case of interference, all the bright spots will be equally bright and all the dark spots will be equally dark. So in fact, when we see this using a microscope, this is D1, this is B1, this is D2. Let's see how the graph is coming, children. Here the intensity is 0, here it is maximum. Again here intensity is maximum, here it is 0. Again at this point, this is D1, D2, B1, this is B2. Again here intensity is maximum, and again similarly here it will be 0. This is B2. If you come down below, Then at this point intensity is 0. At this point intensity is maximum. Again here intensity is 0. And again at this point intensity is maximum. This is how the graph will go. So we find very interesting thing that all the dark spots are equally dark and all the bright spots are equally bright and they are as bright at the central maximum. Clear? Now if we flip the graph and we draw it, draw a graph between intensity, that is I, and then suppose you want to plot against path difference. That is x. Then children, like I said, bright spot will be always equally bright and dark spots will be equally dark. So the graph will be something like this. It will be coming something like this. And this is I max, the maximum intensity. Path difference here is lambda by 2. Here it is lambda. This is 3 lambda by 2. Here it is 2 lambda. And this will be 5 lambda by 2. So you can see wherever the path difference x is odd multiple of lambda by 2, then we are having a dark spot, and where it is even lambda, 2 lambda, we are getting a maximum or a bright spot. Similarly here, this is minus lambda by 2, minus lambda, minus 3 lambda by 2, minus 2 lambda. So this is how the graph is coming. Clear? But the important thing is that all the bright spots are equally bright and as bright as the central maximum, and all the dark spots are equally dark. Now suppose I am plotting the same graph, intensity versus phase difference, then how will the graph come? The graph will be same, only you can modify yourself. In fact, where it is lambda by 2, we will be writing pi, and where it is lambda, we will be plotting 2 pi. Here we will be plotting 3 pi, I will replace 3 pi, this will be 4 pi, and this will be 5 pi. If you go on the left hand side, so this will be, children, how much? Minus pi, this will be minus 2 pi, this will be minus 3 pi, this will be minus 4 pi, and this will be minus 5 pi. So this is the graph showing distribution of intensity with respect to either x, that is path difference, or phi, that is phase difference. Clear? So you have to know that all the bright spots will be equally bright and all the dark spots will be equally dark spots. Now there are certain questions which are framed based on the double slit experiment, which we should also discuss. Now children, we will be discussing, many times they will ask you questions on this, like they will ask you what will happen. I will be writing some of these questions here on the board. What will happen if one of the slits is blocked, if the slits are made narrower, if the slits are made broader, if the distance between the slits is increased, if yellow light is replaced by red light, and all these things. So how will we be cracking up this kind of defect? Let us see. Now here we have some of the factors. You can modify yourself also, you can add up more conditions. What will happen in double slit experiment if one of the slits is blocked? What will be the answer? If one of the slits is blocked, then there will be no interference. What will happen? No interference. Why no interference? Because we require minimum 2 coherent sources for this. Then blue light is replaced by red light. Now this is another significant question. Blue light, suppose initially I was using blue light and I am using red light. So we know that red has more wavelength compared to blue. Clear? And then you know that fringe width beta is equal to lambda d by small d. So when I look at this, beta is equal to lambda d by d. Beta for red is more than beta for blue. So if you replace blue light with red light, the wavelength is increasing. So fringe width will beta for red will be more than beta for blue. So what will be the effect? Fringe width will increase. Then monochromatic light is replaced by white light. Then obviously we have done the condition. One of the conditions for sustained interference is that we must use monochromatic light. Mean there will be no sustained interference in this case. Okay. So we will say no interference because the condition is what? Violet. Slits are made more broader. The slits are like this, and now we make it more broad. So the fringes will be blurred. What will happen to the fringes? They will be more blurred. Distance between the slits is decreased. Now, if you decrease the distance, then beta is equal to lambda d by d. So if you decrease the value of small d, then the fringe width will what? Fringe width will decrease. So what is the consequence? Beta will decrease. Clear? Now distance between the slits and the screen will decrease. So if capital D will decrease, then also beta will decrease. You can see D will decrease, then also beta will decrease. So same conditions, same outcome will be seen. And our experiment is carried out in water. So if you carried out experiment in any medium, then you know the fringe width will not decrease, and beta in water, beta in nearby refractive index of water. Clear? So fringe width will decrease. So children, in this class on interference, we explicitly discuss various aspects of interference. Okay? Thank you.